Hello creatives, welcome to the 1% Creative, the platform for creatives by creatives. I want to say a very big thank you to everyone who has been on this journey with us from the start to the point where we are now, because this is not the finish line. No, this is the grand finale episode, yes, but the team and I are very, very grateful. Thank you for the views. Thank you for the subscriptions. Thank you for the shares, the love, the comments, everything that you've been doing. Thank you so much. Today, like I promised in one of the drop-ins that I did, I said I was going to do a journey about myself. And I thought, what best to do with the grand finale other than share my journey as well as a creative. So yes, welcome to the grand finale episode. Drum rolls. And yeah, you're going to be hearing my journey, my story, and how far I've come on this part as a creative. The topic today is the essence of community for a creative. Yes, I have been the one person that I know for myself. I don't know for anybody else, but I know that I have been helped by many people in this space. And yes, I'll get right into it now. Like, my name is Nnenna Alozie, and I sort of refer to myself as a creative guru. Yeah. But streamlining it to what kind of creative I am, I would say that I am a producer. I am a host, podcast host, obviously. And I started my journey, with writing. But along the line, I saw that there were more layers to me, and I thought to explore those layers. I'll go into it as we progress on the episode. But I'll just say, I'm a content producer, director, and of course, a podcast host. I would say that my journey started off in 2021. Yeah, about 4 years now. So during the COVID period, I was one of those who literally took time off to, check and see what was in there, side of me that I didn't know I had. But prior to then, I had been writing, right? I used to do this thing where it's my friend's birthday, I'll write like an epistle about how we met, how far the journey has been, what I love about them. And I saw that people were looking forward to, the things that I write about them on their birthdays. And at some point, it actually caused a bit of a problem, because if it's your birthday and I didn't write anything about you, it was almost giving, she quarreling with me kind of thing, So a lot of people knew me for that. I mean, they loved the whole story, the journey, and at some point I began to, drop nuggets here and there. And I would get DMs like, hey, I don't like this suspense. Hey, what's the end of the story? Hey. And it was interesting. I was just doing it for fun, but I knew that I was very good with words. I'm very big on words as well. So words, they mean a lot to me. And I also saw that the more I tell people about how I feel about them, the more they embrace themselves, for who they really are. After that period, I thought to, take the whole creative thing seriously. And during the ease of lockdown, I remember I went to a petrol station to get petrol, and I ran into one of the veterans back home in Nigeria, Charles Okafor. Big shout out to Uncle Charles. And we had a very quick chat. But that quick chat was the propelling factor that has led me to where I am today. And I'm really grateful that that day happened. He heard me talk, and he said something very profound to me that I would never forget. He said to me, Nnenna, creatives should never go hungry. It stuck with me. And I thought about it if you're a creative, you have something to create. You have something, there's a product There's a value you bring to the table, and people pay for it. After that conversation, he picked an interest and he said, this is not ending here. I would like you to meet somebody. And I met with one of his friends who already had like a media outlet, and I went for an interview. I got the job, and I started my creative journey as a media correspondent. And that space honestly opened up the sides to me that I didn't know were there. Like I said, I have different layers, and the more I tapped into one layer, the more it opened up the other layer, and I just kept going like that. I did that job for a while, and again, there was still something pushing me. Like, I felt like there was more about me. There was more to me, rather, that I wanted to explore. So I went to my boss one day and I said to him, sir, I would like to resign and, pursue some other things. He said, things like what? And I told him. I said, I wanted to go into TV. I wanted to go into film. And he looked at me and he said something to me. He said, you are one person who has proven yourself in this short period of time. And I don't doubt that you would do so well in whatever area you go into. So you have my full support. I wouldn't want you to go. However, if you're hell-bent on going, that's okay. And I did resign, and I was without a job. Literally. I registered for writing school. I wanted to just, brush up my writing skills. I did that. I also got into production school, to learn the nitty-gritties about production. Funnily enough, that was where I started practicing. So as against just theory, I was on set, a production set, and I started knowing how these things were done. So it was a volunteer project, and I just knew that I was not here for the money per se. I just wanted to get the knowledge and, just run with it as much as I could. And I did that job. And while at it, someone saw me doing the job. And she asked me how much I was being paid for this job. I'm like, no, I'm not being paid. I'm just doing it because, I'm training and I just want to do it. She didn't believe me. She said, no way. You're doing this the way you're doing it. So I'll say something, yeah? I'm very big on excellence. And people who know me over time know that if I'm not giving my 100% and over, I'm not going to do it. If I commit to doing something, I do it to the latter. So when she saw the passion, the zeal, everything that I was putting into the job, she felt it was going to equate for money, but I wasn't getting paid for it. And I remember one of our guests also mentioned that in, his episode where he said something like, internship is actually like part of the process. Whether you're getting paid or not, give your 100% and above. And I support, that because it happened to me practically, And I'll tell you, I don't want to say it's a long story. I want to cut it short. I'll tell you that it was from that production that I got my first big break in the creative space. The same lady who asked me the question of how much I was getting paid because she was intrigued by my work ethic, by, how I was doing what I was doing, was the same lady who called me one of these days and said, hey, you're a storyteller, yes? I'm like, yeah. He said, okay, there's this job I would like you to, I would like you to put your name in for. I'm like, okay, let's have it. And then she did that. Shout out to Samuel Ilumelu. Thank you. She put my name in for the job. I think it's the biggest show in Africa, Big Brother Niger, back home in my country, Nigeria. And I did that job. And the rest, they will say, is what? History. That's how my journey of creativity, started. And that's how it's been going till now. Community for a creative is of importance because, you can't create in isolation. And that's the truth. You have to be out there. And that's one of the reasons why I started this podcast show, The 1% Creative. I love my space, right? I've always been that girl who I feel like I thrive in my solitude. However, I'm also the people person. I love people, right? I love to reach out to people. And somehow, collaboration to me has always been something that I've been big on. More so, bouncing off ideas. You know, this particular idea of this show had been there for many, many years. But trust me, because I'm also a bit of a perfectionist, I was waiting for the right time. I wanted everything to be okay. But I had my friends who literally were on my neck, like, girl, you've got this. Start it regardless. Do this. Fail while at it. Learn while at it. That push. And that happened because I recognize these people. I value their opinion. I love their suggestions. I open myself to also learn and be teachable. So for every creative, there's this bit of arrogance that a creative has because that you can just sit down at 1 minute, you have this super idea, and the next minute it's almost giving, well, I got it. You got it, somebody else got it too. But what you do with those ideas when they come is very important. And for me, what I do is I first internalize, I first try to understand why. My why is very important to me. Why do you want to do this? And afterwards, I bring it to the table. I ask my friends, what do you think? And the good thing as well is I have people who are also creatives who are in my space, who literally, understand my creative process and also understand my creative outlet. So it's easier for me to just, put myself in that space where they tell me, hey, okay, this is not going to work like this, or this is going to work like this. And I appreciate their opinion. It has brought me to where I currently am. So it's very important. I call them my tribe. You can call them community. You can call whatever name you want to give them. But for me, it's very important that creatives surround themselves with people who get them, people who understand their creative flow as well. So you don't get trumped by it, because it's very easy. It takes, and I also feel like most creatives are overthinkers. Yeah. It takes one negative comment, for instance, to shut down your creative process. So as much as you have community, you should also have people who understand these things about, your journey, and know how to help you and not, discourage you or, say stuff that would make you wonder if you really are supposed to be on the path where you currently are. To me, community is very important because I am a proof that really having community is of great essence as a creative. For me, one of my propelling factors as a creative is the people you meet on the journey, actually. So beyond the work, there's the satisfaction that comes with delivering an excellent job, right? But most importantly, I'm always big on the people. Hence the reason why I love community. I do a project, for instance, and I bet you beyond the money that I get paid for that project, I get at least 2 to 3 people who, will become really close to me and will be friends for the longest time. For every project I've done, I can count the number of people, who are still in my life till now, from 2021 up until this date. And I'm really grateful for all of them. I also think that one of the things that have kept me here is the impact that I'm able to make, whenever I'm on any production. I find that people get very endeared to me. People want to talk to me. People want to, hey, I just want to be close to you kind of thing, And for me, is a responsibility that I don't take for granted. Because someone's coming to me, for instance, and beyond the project, you're going on about, what's happening with you. It's my responsibility to protect that information. So again, as a creative, especially if you are the type that people find, endearing, you have to have the ability to protect whatever it is that people say to you. It's very important. It's easy for us to, go on and on and on about a lot of stuff. And at the end of or during the conversations, you can just say something. Yeah, I was talking to somebody and she said, or he said, you have to have that self-discipline, to understand that certain information is not for everybody's ears. Don't be tempted. Don't be carried away. Community is important to grow with. However, don't be the reason why your community goes apart because of the things you say. Highlights of my journey. To be honest, I'm still going to be saying the same thing. The people and then the project, the impact as well. So for me, it's people, projects, the 2 Ps are very important to me. I've done some very significant projects that I'm proud of, one of which is the 1% Creative that I am currently on. I'm really, really excited about this project. I think it's one of my major highlights. I mean, I've done jobs over the years that I'm proud of as well, but this, how you are able to take things from the paper, and bring them to life. I think that's one of the best feelings ever. Like, literally, it's very fulfilling. Like, I mean, a lot of you listening to me would actually understand what I'm saying. You go beyond the scribbles, the long, brainstorming sessions, so many things, and then is life. So despite the errors in between, despite the learning curve, despite everything, the good thing is having to bring this to life. So I would say that that's like one of my major highlights of my journey as a creative. Yeah. As in all honesty, I want to create more stuff. I want to do film, that would tell stories. I mean, I don't think there is no story that hasn't been told, but the difference would be how it's told, right? So I want to tell stories from my perspective. So yeah, these are the things that I would love to do. Short films, feature-length films. For now, I also am very big on documentary, right? So I think that I also do something in that light. More so, bring the podcast show, make it better, yeah, and hopefully get like an air slot on one of the very big media outlets that we know or we can think of. Nothing is too hard for my God to do. So yeah, I hope to, make this really bigger than what it is now and have projects too. And this is majorly going to be on collaboration basis as well. I'm very big on collaboration. I want to work with people. I want to, learn from different people. I want to also give myself, the bit of me that I already have. I mean, I feel like the more we sharpen ourselves, the better we become as creatives. So it's not a case where you're trying to compete, you're trying to, show yourself as better than the other. No. For me, it's a point where let's come together, let's collaborate, let's learn, let's do better. So yeah, I mean, I have this kind of project in line. And also I'm going to be writing some books. Yeah. So hold me accountable. Ask me. By this time, few months time, where is the book? I mean, I would start with one first. I'll start with one first and then it just grows from there. So yeah, pretty much I have like a few things lined up and hopefully fingers crossed, they're going to come to life really soon. Yeah. So I think that one of my biggest lessons on this part is to not take anything for granted. No. Personally, I put value to things, to people, and it's helped me over the years because I think that people kind of step out of character when they become or get to a certain level, right? And for me, I feel like the best thing to do is, at every stage, at every point where you are in life, don't lose yourself and don't be somebody else. I find that we do a lot of projects. We have our names out there. It kind of gets into our head. And the next thing, you're acting like someone who cannot, be told what to do, or someone who cannot even learn from anybody anymore. And as a creative, I think that is something that can actually bring us down. People might say you shouldn't think that way, but for me, I like to remain little in my own eyes, no matter how big I grow. Be humble, no matter what happens, no matter where you go to, no matter who you become, whatever it is. Humility opens more doors for you, especially as a creative. Humility and excellence. I would say this over and over and over. As a creative, you have to be or have an approach of excellence in whatever you do. It's quite funny because growing up, I had always wanted to become an accountant. Yeah. But the reason for that was because I loved how bankers, would dress to work and, all of that. So it was a thing for me. If you asked me when I was younger, what do you like to become? Like an accountant, a banker, and it was something. And the storytelling thing was not such a big deal, especially where I'm coming from. I mean, I come from a family where it was not such a big deal, And to be fair, my dad didn't think this was a career path. Yeah, and I know he's watching, he's listening. He didn't think it was a career path for me because he was always worried. How are you telling me you're not going to be doing 9 to 5? How are you saying to us that you want to become this, you want to become that? How viable is it? And I mean, to be fair to him, every parent will want their kids to have, a very good job and have a good livelihood, But I had something that I wanted to do. And this is like something that comes to me naturally. And I explained this to my dad. I'm like, I guess it's that you're very worried. However, I think that I'm going to be fine. And he kind of saw that I wasn't just talking, I was walking my talk, And one of the days, I was credited from a job that I did. I sent him the credit a lot. I'm like, this is just one project. And this was barely 3 weeks. And he said, okay. You know how your mind will not come down to say, okay, there could actually be something here. And from that day onward, he's been very supportive. I mean, my family has been very supportive, my friends as well. And we already had the culture of storytelling, while I was growing up. And I saw it on TV, Tales by Moonlight, then many years ago where, I know that we never missed it. I think it was on Sunday evenings. And somehow, having those kind of stories being told, to kids on the TV and indirectly being told to us viewers at home, I think is something that has been part of, our culture. And I'm not the type to also downplay culture in this regard. So storytelling kind of like began to have its, flow with me. That's why, ask me one thing, I can talk about it for many minutes. You'll be the one to say, okay. Or sometimes I can actually know when to stop. But naturally, I like to give, storytelling has to do with depths and details. and I'm a person of depth, and I also like details. It has also become a lifestyle for me because beyond doing this on screen, my friends would want to hear my part of whatever it is I have to say because they know that I don't miss any detail. And I find it very fascinating because it gets people interested. It gets people to want to know. Especially the part where I said, when I talk about people, I write my friends love letters. Yeah, and they look out for it sometimes. One of my friends recently just told me, said, hey, it's been a while I read from you. I'm like, oh, that's true, girl. I'm going to write you something. I randomly just write, to make people feel seen, to make them feel appreciated, to make them feel loved. I mean, I'm that kind of girl. And yeah, it's now become like a part of me. It's something that I also want to pass on to my children eventually because it's life. How we breathe, how we sleep, how we even dress, all of this is part of us as a people. And every detail has a story to it. Your hair, your makeup, your clothes, your wristwatch, whatever it is, every part of you has a detail, and all of this make up for a story. I honestly don't know. At this point, I don't know. I think I've infused myself or immersed myself deeply in what I'm currently doing, and I don't know if there's anything else I can do outside this. But what I can say is I have different sides to me, yeah? I would only want to harmonize it, Again, like I said, details and depths. I'm thinking of the sector that will also be very close to what I'm doing, that I might, eventually say, okay, I would diversify into this at the end of the day. But I'm thinking about it. I love tech. I love the money in tech. Yeah, let's be very clear about it. I love the money in tech. And if I'm going to do something, like I said, I would find a way to harmonize it. So you're using tech to tell a story. I mean, there's no separating me from storytelling. To be honest, I don't think there's any separation that I'm going to have from this storyteller that I am. But when I think about something, I'll let you know. Okay. I think we've heard this so many times, but I would say this probably in a very different way. You can start when you should start. I'm a very big believer that timing is of great importance. Sometimes you might feel like you're backwards, like people are moving faster than you are moving, but don't stop creating, even if nobody has seen it yet. You are the one who's seeing it. You are the one who knows, what you want the end to go for whatever thing you're creating to be. Don't stop learning. As a matter of fact, surround yourself with people who would push you. Surround yourself with people who would seek only for the best for you. I mean, seeking the best doesn't mean that you wouldn't make mistakes. I am still a work in progress. I don't care the much I've done so far. I am still a work in progress. And like I said, I always see myself from the point where there's always something to improve. There's always something to learn. There's always something to do better. So I don't settle. As a creative, I don't think you should settle. I'm saying this honestly because once you settle, you begin to do yourself a disservice. And it kind of cripples your creative process. So if anything, aim for the best. Aim for the highest point possible. Even if you don't get there, shift something in your mind to tell you or to make room for greater stuff to come. Don't let your mind, be small. Come out of the box. Don't put yourself in a box, and don't let nobody put you in a box as well. You're a creator. You have a freedom of expression. Create it. If you don't like it, create it again. If you don't like it, create it again. So it's a process. Do it over and over and over and over again. But the major thing is just do it. Stop waiting. Stop stalling. I would say prayerfully know where you need to be at every time, at every point. When you feel it in your guts, when you feel it very strongly, just do it. So don't wait, okay? Of course, I mean, I'm speaking about the essence of community as a creative. Of course, I'm open to collaborations. I mean, I want to work with people. That's why I am here as well. I mean, I'm connecting people to people, and I'm also a creative. So please, I want to connect with you. Reach out to me. I mean, I have this podcast on Instagram. I have on YouTube as well. I have like different outlets. I mean, I'm here. Connect with me. Let's work together. Pretty much whatever it is that we need to, do together. Let me know. I'm just one DM away. And yeah, we can actually bring that idea to life. You never can tell. So creatives, I hope that this particular episode has been a bit enlightening to you. I honestly wish for us to keep winning in whatever we do as creatives. Like I said earlier, the major thing that got me on this path is a word spoken to me. So be mindful of the words you hear. Be mindful of the words you also speak to yourself, especially. Don't forget, creatives are not supposed to go hungry. So if you're a creative and you're struggling and you are hungry, then you are in the wrong. Do something with the gift that you have. And the Bible says the gift of man makes room for him. And that was something that also put me, that convinced me strongly. Because during that COVID period, I know that I was praying this one time and I heard it clearly in my spirit that it will come a time where what will put food on your table is the gift that you have. And honestly, I thought about it. I'm like, okay, what are those gifts that I have? I want to put them to use. And it's beautiful to do something you love to do and make money while doing it. It's so beautiful. It's one of the best feelings too in this life. I don't know for anybody else, but I find it very interesting. And I think it's a blessing as well. So come out. Break out of your comfort zone. Come out of your comfort zone. Do something with what you have and let it yield for you as well. And before we go, I also am part of the guests. So I got this. Thank you, Nay. So I'm going to sign, as we always do on the show. And anyone who's eventually going to get this would, read something from me at the end of the day. So let's get right into it. Thank you for being here with us again. Thank you for listening to this episode. And until the next season, we're going to be doing some drop-ins here and there. I'm not going to drop the whole thing now. Rest assured, we're going to have like contents here and there that will keep you also with us here. Yes, it's the finale episode. However, we're still going to be very active. If you haven't caught up with all the episodes, please do well to catch up with all the episodes. You'll be glad. There is always something to learn, to pick, and to just work with. All right? Thank you so much. It's been a beautiful ride so far. And I'm so optimistic that the next season is going to be bigger, better, and it's going to be, fingers crossed. I'm not going to say anything. But yeah, thank you from me and the team. We are very, very grateful. And until the next season, Don't forget, the 1% Creative, the platform for creatives by creatives. And the major goal for us is to connect creatives across continents and cultures. So if you're a creative, you are welcome in the space. Let's create a community, let's build together, let's grow together. Thank you so much. And until the next season, my name is Nnenna Alozie and I am a creative.